Hello, hello, it's Erin Reed from Erin Reed Makes, and welcome. We're going to make some Christmas winter wishes cards with this super cute man. You guys got to check this out. This is so much fun. Look at this. Woo! I just get a kick out of that. I love little interactive cards. I love a little guy. It's like, hello, where'd you come from? Hello. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this with a couple of fun stamp and die sets. This one's called Warm Winter Wishes. And you can see this is the cutie little, I'm going to hold this up so you guys can see. So it's got the gingerbread man, the adorable little marshmallows. It's got the cup, so it's a hot chocolate, or it could be, whatever you want it to be. Hot toddy if you want. And then there's a secondary set that we're going to be using, which is this pull and reveal slider set, which are these elements here. And this has more than one capability. I'm just showing you one use. We'll be playing along with this at another time. So I've already done a couple of things. Let me get this set up. I'm going to leave this just over here so you guys can see what this is all about. So let me get this mess off to the side. All right, so I've done some pre-cutting ahead, so that way you guys can kind of get an idea of where I'm at. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. And welcome everybody who's just gotten on. Now I'm adding a mat to the back of this just because I wanted to. You don't have to. You should, I would say though, you need to have one more layer to your card so you can elevate this up. Whoops, this goes this way. So if you go directly to the card, it's going to be very hard because you want to notice there's a lot of some foam dots in here to allow the sliding to happen. Hi, Tammy. So you get a lot of this little slidey thing happening here. All right. So I have already cut with the pull and reveal. I've taken the mid-size. This is the mid-size slide right here. And I've already lined this up exactly where I want, which is this little sliding piece right here. There is also a longer one, as you can see, and then there's a little short, tiny one. But this tiny one can actually be used a different way. Actually, this is on the wrong, that's the candy stick, not part of this die set. Whoops, I got them confused. I was like, why do I have an extra die? I was like, oh, it's with the other set. I try to keep them all separate. That's why I put them on two different magnetic sheets. So you can go two different ways with this, but then, or sorry, you can go three different lengths. So like it all depends on how far you want to pull this up. So I wanted my little gingerbread man to go, hello, straight out of here. So I wanted to have a nice, long, basically path for him to follow. And so I lined up this after I die cut out my little cup right here. And then I had my little swirl. And so what I did is like, okay, well, I want to be able to fit my little guy in here and be able to pull him up. And I already colored this little guy in. And how high do I want him to go? I want him to come back here. And so that's where I just set this in place. And then I went ahead and die cut that. So I just placed it, put some tape on it, ran it through my die cutting machine, and we're done. All right, so I also have this element. I just thought it looked kind of plain. I wanted my cup to sit on something. So this is just white paper. I add a little swirly too. And we're just going to put that to the bottom right there, just like that. All right. So the first step you're going to want to do before you put everything together, hello, Karen. Hi, Connie, is you're going to want to put foam on all of this. Now, I did make one mistake on this. So, and it was on purpose, but I'm kind of glad I get to show you. See how this is kind of wobbly right here? I don't want it to be super wobbly. So what I'm going to do for this one is first you have to remember, what is your top? This is my top. I can't put anything right here or I'm not going to be able to pull this little guy out. Leave everything here open, but everything next to it, I want to cover. So this is my sliding piece. I'm kind of showing you in two different steps, which is this piece right here. And there's a reason why this is doubly thick or why this is one that you cut and then you fold over. The reason being is you don't want your sliding element, this element, to be flimsy. You want it to be really, really strong. So they've given it to you so you can add a little adhesive in the center and fold it over so you have an extra, extra strong pull tab. So this is now doubly reinforced. You didn't have to die cut it twice and line it up perfectly. You just cut it once and fold it in half, and you have a really nice strong pull tab. It's got rounded corners and you're set to go. So it really speeds things up. Hi, Judy. All right, so I want to make sure, so I'm going to line this up right here, and you can tell this is about the length of the card. You can always cut this in half. You don't, and we are going to trim ours up a tiny bit, but that's the very end. So I want to line this up right here, but I don't want it to wiggle around too much. So I want to make my foam, I got it caught right here. I want to make my foam be as close I don't want to use those scissors. I want to get scissors. I don't care about if they get sticky. Anybody else have like, I don't want to use that scissor for that. I got to use that scissor for this. You're very picky about my scissors for good reason though, because I don't want to get them all gummed up and nasty and gross. So I'm lining up my foam, going all the way down. There we go. And all the way to the top. And then I don't want it to warp and wiggle and get all funky. So I'm going to add some more foam tape. I have this giant roll. And when this video is over, I will put all the links to all the supplies I'm using on the site. Truthfully, I've been like in election, like super watch mode, and then helping kids with schoolwork. So that was one thing I just did not get. I was listening to the election and getting the cards prepped and getting organized. That's what my day has been like. Helping the kids with their homework. Watch more about the election. I'm just adding a couple little extra pieces here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to make sure I don't have any super big gaps. There we go. Ta-da. All right. And I did want to show you all of this foam, placing the foam on there, because that does make a difference about how you apply it. I could be like, I could have showed you that, but I would have not been, I'm showing you how to put the foam on. Whatever foam you choose to use, I would stick with the same one for the entire project, because if you use too thick of one area and then it's not thick enough in another, you're not going to have a nice clean sliding card. So some foam is just a little bit more thin or thicker, depending on the brand or whatever. This one, this giant roll that I got, actually came as a 2-fold roll. This thing is massive. Look at this thing. Look at this massive thing. I'm such a good mom. Yeah. Well, I even had the kids. We turned it into a little bit of a, thank you. I appreciate that. I shouldn't laugh and get snarky with that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We definitely turned into, like, I would turn the news on and I'd show them what all the electoral votes called, and why this one's undecided versus that one. And we turned it into a little math thing. I mean, they definitely have their own schoolwork because we're all virtual still. But I was like, this is an important event. And for 2 of my kids, this is the first election that they might even recall or remember. So, all right, I'm lining this up just perfectly. And yes, you can go ahead and put this down. Now that I have everything, because you can still take this little piece right here and we can still slide this in. And now it's still wobbly, but it's not as bad as the other one. One side's a little more off than the other, but it's not bad. There we go. I went a little too far. Oh, I forgot one thing. Oh, shoot. I did forget to do one thing. I meant to put my little hole punch. Now, the die does come with this little piece right here, which you could line this up right here and you could make a little divot. I decided I didn't want to go and do that. So I'm going to rip this up real fast. Whoops. I meant to do this first. I got to talking. I'm going to have the hardest time. You know what? So I can't do that with this. So we're going to go a different path. We're going to make it a little V. So if you don't have a special punch, you don't want to do this. We're just changing the outcome. So for this one, I actually used, so just so you can see, for this one, I used a little hole punch and I punched it right at the top of where the slider piece was. And for this one, because I forgot to do it, I just cut a little V. It all works. Oh, you have a pair of Teflon ones for that. Awesome. I love that. Auckland, New Zealand. Woohoo. Welcome, welcome, Catherine. That's my daughter's name. Spelled the same way too. Okay. So now that we have that in place, we're going to get our little mug. But before I put my mug on, there's a couple things we got to take care of. Now, I did most of the coloring ahead of time, but I didn't do 100% of it. So for the mug part, I just die cut it out of craft paper. And just to add a little bit of something, I'm just taking the same brown pen, one of them that I used to color. Here he is. One of my little cutie gingerbread men. And I'm just going around the edge. If you want to get super fancy and decorate it, you totally could. You could do this out of pattern paper. There's so many fun things you can do with this cute little coffee cup, this mug. I mean, it really could go in a lot of different directions. You could have fun with it in pattern paper. I decided the handle needed to be extra dark, so I really colored that in. And yes, you can color on other things beyond white paper. So there it is. And I did find I liked it better when I went through it just twice, just to give it even more of a kind of a change, a little bit of an alter Should have used the other end, should have used that end, which is nice and thick, but oops. It's important when you sorry, I'm reading your comment, Connie. Oh yeah, the thickness of the foam tape is a really big deal. I tell you what, I tried to at first I was like, I'm going to use this piece, and then I've got, these little squares, and I was like, there's different thicknesses. This is not going to work. This is going to mess things up. And I was like, can't do that. So can't do that. All right, I'm going to take off a pretty big section of foam tape here. And as you can tell, these are not very, they're getting pretty gummy, but I'll clean them. A little bit of some cleaning and my fingernail work wonders on that. I'm just going to put this off to the side. All right, so now we are going to do our little mug. Now, keep in mind with this card, as you lift your little gingerbread man out, it needs to slide into the cup. So you cannot put any foam tape at the top of the cup. So that's really important. You need to have room for the little guy to go whoop and fit inside of here. So it's going to give a bottom piece. So however far you want to have your gingerbread man go down, that's where you need to put your foam tape. If you want him to kind of go right about there, so his little head's just kind of poking out. I have mine kind of just poking out. It's up to you, kind of your call. So think of all the fun dies that you have that you could kind of play around with and go, ooh, I can have fun with layering of that and kind of stuff. Just add a little something. Now, here's the key thing with this one. In order for our little gingerbread man to slide, he has to be popped up on top of, he has to be the same level as this, but we have to pop up, which is what we already did, the back side, because otherwise this won't slide, it'll catch. So this little guy is popped up too, which we'll get to in a minute. But in order for the gingerbread man to slide into here, this has to be a little bit higher. So this is where your foam tape comes in handy. You're actually going to doubly extend. Now, if you have two different thicknesses of foam tape and you realize I have one thinner and one thicker, use the thinner one for everything else. And for your mug, use the thicker one. If you don't know if your foam tape is doubly thick or thinner or thicker, I'm just double checking to make sure I don't see any of the foam tape. It's totally hidden. That little corner was bugging me. Just double it up, just like I'm doing right now. I took the layer, I took that extra piece off, and now I'm going to cut. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure it's tall enough and you're not getting in the way of your little gingerbread man coming down. So you are tall enough. And I'm not going to even worry about trying to go the full length of that. I'm just going to add a little extra piece right there. So now it is double thick right here. It's all double thick. Yeah, make sure you leave the top. Otherwise, you're going to be like, why isn't this fitting? Hey, it's stuck. It's not fitting. It's not working. What's going on? So there's a few little tidbits that you have to be aware of when you're doing these kinds of cards. If you're doing openings or sliding cards or anything like that, that you have to kind of think, how does the mechanism work? So before you put it all together, watch a video on how to use it, or just think about the mechanics. I want this to move here. How does that work? So you just kind of think through ahead of it. All right. Ooh, lighter fluid works great to clean glue and adhesive from scissors. Good to know. I love that. Okay, so now I want to place my little cup right here, right there. There we go. Ta-da! Oh, and I did forget to do something. Oh, we can still do it. It's all good. I'm so excited just to tell you guys how to do this. All right, I'm going to change up my little whip topping. Now, I already pulled all of my colors that I was coloring and I stuck them in my little organizer over here. And so I am going to, I think it was this one, Pale Peach. Pretty sure it's Pale Peach. This is why I have scratch paper, so I can test my colors to make sure I'm not using the wrong one, because I did that once already. Yes, Pale Peach. So I picked Pale Peach to color, and this is an Arteza pen. I mix and match. I also have some Copics. I really do mix and match all my colors. It's just whatever color I have that works the best. I'm very non-specific on that, I guess. So I'm also frugal, so whatever the better price is what I'm going to go with. And these were really inexpensive for a whole set. And I got a whole bunch of Copics when Hobby Lobby was clearancing them out, and they were like $1 each or something. I cleaned out every color they had. All right, so on the die for the little swirl, you can, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to try and show it to you. There is, oh yeah, you can see that. There is a little bit of an embossing. So just lightly on this little swirly thing, there is embossing. Good to know. Accidentally wound up with a bunch of cigarette lighters. All right, that's an odd thing to have, but cool. All right, so I'm kind of following the guide because I can just see it, and I'm just going to go and kind of outline a little bit of where I see that embossing, just to kind of highlight some, like, kind of the layers. It's very, very faint. And then I'm going to go through and I'm just going to outline the entire whipped topping dollop thing. So there we go. Just doing a little, oops, if it doesn't stick to my fingers. One of my kids' watches is going off and it's going beep, 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 and it's driving me bananas. And probably the silly part is I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the house, unbeknownst to me. I don't know where. Grr. All right. I did not finish doing all of my marshmallows. I just did the ones to finish the card, and I will go back and I got to do 2 more little marshmallows, which is what I added over here. Oh yeah, it was an amazing Copic sale. It was awesome. Was it at your Hobby Lobby? Yeah, it was on my Hobby Lobby here, and it was a year ago, like a year and a month ago. So it was not a super recent thing. And it was like every Hobby Lobby across the entire country, they were clearancing out what they had because they were bringing in, I think they were clearancing out all of their stuff because they were bringing in their own version of a Copic marker. And so they wanted to get rid of what their competitor would be. So they just clearanced them out. It's not like Copics are going to go bad. I mean, you can refill them. And anyway, it was an awesome deal. So this is my little whip topping, and I don't want it to sit on top because that looks funny. So I got to let it sit on the bottom, and I should have done that before I put all that foam tape. I am a silly girl. So I'm going to do what I did with this one because I totally screwed that up as well, as I'm actually going to rip this off. Excuse me. I'm going to rip this off. You don't know how many times I have screwed up cards because I was like, oh crap, I forgot to do that first. And I, even on my videos, I'm like, oh shoot, even though I did my practice one, I still screwed that up. So I am probably going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add adhesive to everywhere I see foam because I just took off all the sticky because I ripped it off. Good foam though, if you want to see that. Awesome foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my stick first. So I want my stick to be over here. And I want this to be flush to here. I don't want this to be flushed. I could make it flush to the bottom, but then it looks really funny because it's separated. So if you think about it, it would look really funny if it was flush to here. You want it flush to the actual mug. So I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm going to do it to the side. I did not die cut very well. And I'm doing this on a sheet of paper that I don't care about, so I don't mess this up. And as you can tell, I'm die cutting on the back of some craft paper. I don't care about that, how to design. So I'm going to add that there first. I'm going to have this one stick out a little further than I did the other one. And then I'm going to put, oh, good, I almost lost it, my whip topping. My kids love the spray whip top, the canned whip topping. They think, oh, I did the wrong side of it, guys. I think, oh, shoot, I just tore part of that. Oh, no, my phone. You can tell which ringtone I use. Sorry, I usually mute all that mess and I totally forgot. All right, I got to do the front side because we're attaching it to the front side. There we go. Man, my mind is like definitely on a ton of other things today. I don't know about you guys, but it's been like one heck of a roller coaster. So my whip topping is a little bit folded and smushed, but you know what? Whip topping is kind of like that. So I almost, it's funny how you can get some funny little mistakes. Like this is kind of scrunched up. I almost want to undo this and like squish it all up and then fold it out so it looks crinkly, but I've already glued it down and it's going to mess up the gluing process. So we're just going to leave it be. All right, so there's that. The marshmallows, if you notice, are going to go on top of that. And I do actually like how the curl of the whip topping is on this side better. I actually messed up on this one and I didn't feel like die cutting another. So you can see the difference. You can see which one you kind of like better. It's up to you. And then I'm just going to take my adhesive runner and go over all the places that had the foam and then just re-stick it on because I am not redoing all that foam. And guess what? It works because look, ta-da. So there's ways to fix everything. Let me tell you guys. All right, so now I need my little slider again now that I got that in place. So here's my slider. Move my little marshmallow off to the side. So your slider goes into the top. There it is. And I'm going to go ahead, and since this goes all the way down to the bottom, oops, I screwed up. I forgot to put, good point. I forgot to put adhesive right through here so this wouldn't fly all the way through. I did that really close to the camera. So I need to add, backdate, a little bit of foam. So don't forget, girls and guys and card makers and everybody who is watching, to put a bottom so your thing doesn't slide through. It would get stopped by this, but it just gives me a little bit of a better, so fix number 2, we're going to put a tiny, oh, this stuff is sticky, a tiny little bit right here. You guys all rip your cards apart because you screw things up. I know what I'm doing. Really, really I do. Can you tell? No, I do. I'm just being silly. Okay. So now we have a stopper. Aha. See? It can't go any further. So just make sure at the bottom here when you put your foam tape, and I was being a silly goose and I forgot because, you know, we're all scatterbrained today, I think. So now we have a stopper. So that I actually like the height of that, and that's where our little marshmallow is going to go. So it's going to be like a little hello. And I did flip flop on this one, the marshmallow stamp I'm using that came from that Winter Wishes set. There's 2 different marshmallows on here. And so I'm going to flip flop which one goes on the top. So just a little adhesive right here. And then we're going to place on our little gingerbread man. So right to the top, just like that. And it just gives that little pull. So it's that little something that goes, oh, what is that? And then you pull and then boom, there's your guy. So I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to line up my gingerbread man. Now, in order for it to slide, I have to pop it up. So again, having the same size adhesive. There's lots of little foam pieces here that got to go on for this whole thing to function. And I truly think a singular line or strips is the best thing because you don't want to have anything where you're going to have to cut a whole bunch to make it fit the right size. I knew this one was going to be narrow enough that I wasn't going to have a problem. All right, so here is my strip, and I liked it also. I also picked this particular version because it was the right width. It gave a little bit of play from side to side, but it wasn't too wide where it would get sticky, sticky, sticky all the way down. So whatever width this is, I think this is a 1/4, maybe a little bit thicker would work. It's good to see what to do when you forget. Oh yeah, rip it up and try again. You have the mega sticker. Yes, I love it. Oh, you put repositional adhesive because of your mistakes. Yeah, I don't ever use the repositionable. And heads up, if you do use the repositionable adhesive, over time, it will become permanent. It's repositionable to a certain point. So just as a heads up on that. All right, peel off my top of my foam tape. There we go. So peel that off and then place on my little guy. And so now, look at that. Hello, there he is. Ta-da! It's like a little Jack in the Box. I get a kick out of those kinds of cards. I don't know why. I just think they're fun. And then last, I have my Warm Winter Wishes, which is just a little sentiment you can put on there, and that is fun. And as you can see, I screwed up stamping, so I flipped it over and did it again. So that, yeah, that's my crappy side. I'm totally onto that. Now, if you want to decorate up, let's put this down. Well, if you want to decorate up any of this outside piece, here's the other side of it. You could also put another layer of paper, just to make sure you're not, it's kind of hard to put a layer of paper in this. You really don't want to impede this directional, this like channel here. So make sure that you don't put anything in the way. I did a much better job of lining this one all the way down. So you barely see his little head. So you really don't know what it is until you go, oh, look how adorable. And I like that I can bring him all the way up. And I know I see a little bit, I mean, you could have it so he ends here. So I could have dropped that channel down lower. I mean, you can really play around with it. So it's just fun. I love cards that are not just open. I mean, I love beautiful cards, but cards that I can play with and go, oh, look how fun that is. It's like the kid in me just had it. It's like candy or Christmas. It's just oodles of fun. So you can get all these supplies. These are from Maker's Movement. So this is the cute little Warm Winter Wishes stamp and die set. You get the mug, you get the stamps, you get the cutie little marshmallows, which I need to make 2 more and stick them on here because I just think they're cute with marshmallows. Something is about like little faces are just adorable. There's also a Merry Christmas stamp. And then there's snowflakes. There's 2 snowflake stamps, and it also comes with 3 snowflake dies. So as you can see, and these are beautiful dies. I absolutely love them. And then the candy cane stick, which we already used. And then we use the pull and reveal slide mechanism, which is super cute. I did not use this element because instead I used one of the marshmallows, but it creates a really nice and easy channel for you to lift up. And we use the medium sized channel, but there's a longer channel and then there's a tiny channel. And this piece can also be used for something else, which we'll get to at another video at some point. Yay! Thank you so much, everybody. We got June, Danielle, Judy, Connie, oh, Catherine. Oh my gosh, so many people. I'm going to scroll up and see who else is here because I probably missed seeing half of you. Debbie. Oh my gosh, who else is here? Carla. Sorry, half the time I don't face D. Hello, hello. Karen, Tammy. Oh, I'm so glad you stopped by. Thank you so much. Hopefully gave you a little escape from the crazy of the election. It's fun to see. It's like nail biting, and you're like, just tally all the votes. Tell us what the answer is. Anyway, but soon it'll be over and we will know the results. And hope you guys have an amazing day. Please stay safe. Get out there. Just create something. Be creative in whatever way you want to be. It is amazing therapy. And it really does make your heart feel a little bit lighter and a little bit more just kind of, it's like your breath of relief, sigh of relief when you have a lot of fun. So thank you, everybody. Again, I will post the links to where you can get all these supplies of everything I used later tonight. If you're watching live or if you're watching this recorded, it's probably already there. And if you have not given me a thumbs up, a heart, or a like, or a follow, or a subscribe, I would totally appreciate that. And I will see you guys again later. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day. Bye, everybody.